Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan expressed his deepest condolences to the people of Iran after the helicopter crash took the life of President Ebrahim Raisi. The government of China reiterated that Taiwan is an inalienable part of its country, while affirming that political changes will not affect the One China principle. This Monday, the United Socialist Party of Venezuela held a press conference on the sanctions applied to the country and the death of Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan expressed his deepest condolences to the people of Iran after the helicopter crash took the lives of President Ebrahim Raisi, Foreign Minister Hussein Amir Abdullahian, and other officials in an accident that rocked the world.
Today, we received sad news from our neighbor and brother country, Iran. We have learned that the President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Mr. Ebrahim Raisi, and his accompanying delegation died in a helicopter crash. We ask Allah to have mercy on the late Mr. Raisi, the Iranian foreign minister, and other officials who lost their lives in the accident. First of all, I would like to express our deep sorrow over this tragic accident. On behalf of myself, my country, and my nation, I would like to express our deepest condolences to the people of Iran. After receiving the news of the accident, we immediately contacted the Iranian authorities and declared our full commitment to contribute to the search and rescue efforts with all our means.
Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbing says Xi Jinping expresses his condolences over the death of Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi, calling it a great loss to the Iranian people.
President Xi Jinping pointed out that since President Ebrahim Raisi assumed office, he made important contributions to the maintenance of Iran's security and stability, as well as the promotion of national development and prosperity, and has also made positive efforts to consolidate and develop China-Iran's comprehensive partnership and strategic relations. His tragic death is a great loss to the Iranian people, and the Chinese people have lost a good friend.
Earlier on Monday, the leader of the Islamic Revolution in Iran, Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei, approved the appointment of first Vice President Mohammad Mokbar as the country's interim president. Through a communique, the highest Iranian political authority assured that the Vice President is in the position of directing the executive power and is obligated to agree on the election of a new president within a maximum period of 50 days. In this regard, Khamenei declared 5 days of national mourning for the martyrdom of President Sayyid Ebrahim Raisi after the helicopter in which he was being transported was involved in an accident. On the other hand, it was confirmed that the until now Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister Ali Bagheri Khani will serve as acting Foreign Minister after the death of Foreign Minister Hussein Amir Abdullahian. The member states of the Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of Our America People's Trade Treaty, ALBA-TCP, expressed their solidarity with the Iranian people through a communique following the devastating news of the death of their president, Ebrahim Raisi, and the crew in which other high-ranking Iranian government officials were also traveling. Through a communique, the ALBA-TCP member states expressed that the member states of the Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of Our America People's Trade Treaty, ALBA-TCP, deeply mourn the passing away of the President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Ebrahim Raisi, and his Foreign Minister Hussein Amir Abdullahian after a helicopter crash in Varsakan County, East Azerbaijan province. Moreover, the text expresses that they are deeply saddened by the physical death of leader who, with great belief and hard work, raised high the sovereignty and culture of their country, such as President Raisi. Likewise, ALBA-TCP expresses its sentiments of sorrow for the loss of the rest of the authorities who accompanied President Raisi and Minister Amir Abdullahian. Finally, the document points out that the Bolivarian Alliance expresses its most sincere condolences to all the relatives and close friends, as well as to the people and government of the Islamic Republic of Iran for such an unfortunate loss. The government of China reiterated that Taiwan is an inalienable part of its country, while affirming that political changes will not affect the One China principle. The spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of China, Wang Wenbing, said that Taiwan is and always will be Chinese territory. He also added that there will be no maneuver that will allow the independence of the administrative region. The diplomat issued these statements following the pronouncement of the new president of Taiwan, Lai Ching-te, who promised to defend the island and urged Beijing to drop its challenges to its autonomy and democracy.
I would like to emphasize that Taiwan independence is a dead end. No matter under what guise or banner, the pursuit of Taiwan's independence and secession is doomed to fail.
China's foreign ministry spokesperson stressed that the attempts to use Taiwan to control China will not succeed.
Using Taiwan to control China will inevitably fail. The Chinese people's righteous undertaking of opposing Taiwan independence, separatism, and striving for national unification will inevitably receive broader and broader understanding and support from the international community. The day of China's complete unification will come eventually.
The government of Venezuela rejected the statements made by the leader of the Progressive Democratic Party in Taiwan, Lai Ching-te, after becoming the new leader of that Chinese region. Caracas reiterated its commitment to the One China principle, which recognizes the Chinese government as the true and only legitimate representative of its people. Through a communique, the Venezuelan government expressed that the government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela rejects the sectarian position of the leader of the Progressive Democratic Party, Mr. Lai Ching-te, expressed during his speech on May 20, 2024, when he assumed the role of new leader of the Taiwan region, which is contrary to the peaceful reunification of the strait, to peace and to regional stability. On the other hand, the document also stresses that Bolivarian government, exalting its principle of peace and democracy and diplomacy, condemns any threat from the hegemonic imperialism and categorically rejects any country's intervention under any pretext that could undermine regional peace and stability. Finally, the text said that the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela reiterates its eternal friendship with the brotherly People's Republic of China, with a true commitment of continuing to deepen the political, bilateral and solidarity ties that contribute to the consolidation of the community of future shared by mankind. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates and more. All the stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. The Palestinian resistance movement Hamas accused the International Criminal Court of comparing its actions in defense of its sovereignty with Israel's genocidal actions in Gaza. Hamas accusations come after it issued arrest warrants for resistant leaders as well as for Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The Palestinian resistance warned that it is not possible to compare the victims with the perpetrators and urged the ICC to cancel the arrest warrants against its representatives, as in its opinion they push Israel to continue with its war of extermination. Hamas added that the measure against Israeli premier comes 7 months late and urged the court to extend arrest warrants against all military and officials who have participated in the Israeli aggression against the Gaza Strip. The reaction of the Palestinian resistance comes after the International Criminal Court pointed out the responsibility of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for the crimes against humanity committed in the Gaza Strip. The prosecutor Karim Khan held Netanyahu, the Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, and several Hamas leaders criminally responsible for war crimes and crimes against humanity. The charges against Netanyahu and the Israeli War Minister include intent for extermination and starvation as methods of warfare, including the denial of humanitarian aid supplies and deliberate targeting of civilians in the conflict.
Today, that I have reasonable grounds to believe, on the basis of evidence collected and examined by my office, that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant bear criminal responsibility for the following international crimes committed on the territory of the State of Palestine from at least the 8th of October 2023. The crimes include starvation of civilians as a method of warfare, willfully causing great suffering, serious injury to body or health or cruel treatment, willful killing or murder, and intentionally directing attacks against a civilian population, as well as crimes against humanity of extermination and or murder, persecution, and allegations of crimes of committing other inhumane acts.
On the Gaza Strip, dozens of men, women and children line up Monday outside a charity in Mawasi in the southern city of Khan Yunis to get some food amid severe scarcity as the result of the ongoing war. Due to the shortage of cooking gas, people carry plastic containers to be filled with pasta cooked in giant pots set over firewood. The humanitarian situation worsened in early May when the Zionist troops launched an operation in the southern town of Rafah and Israel's capture of the main border crossing linking to the Gaza Strip to Egypt. Rafah was the main entry point for fuel. In this context, Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said Monday in talks with a U.S. envoy that the army would expand its operations in the southern Gaza town.
We don't have food and water, so we ask for help, and people can see that we can't eat nor eat when it comes to us and the food. We can't find food or water, and we take our children to the hospitals. This pot will be used for sometimes they fill it half full and sometimes they fill it full.
We were in Rafah, then came to Khan Yunis. Life is difficult because there is nothing here. In Rafah, everything was available. We live on canned food now that we bring from charities. Had it not been for charities, we would have starved to death, me and my grandchildren.
On Sunday, thousands of Moroccans demonstrated in Casablanca their support for the Palestinian people. Social activists and human rights defender groups reiterated their call to the Prime Minister of Morocco, Aziz Hassanouch, to break all kinds of relations with the government of Tel Aviv. It should be noted that the North African nation established diplomatic relations with Israel in the framework of the Abraham Accords mediated by the United States, which saw similar movements by the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. In effect, the demonstrators highlighted the courage of the Palestinian people and rejected the Western powers and the Zionist occupation.
We are here today to say to the valiant Palestinian resistance, to the steadfast Palestinian resistance in the face of Zionist occupation and Western imperialism, to say that the Moroccan people, as always, are always on the side of the Palestinian resistance.
This Monday, the United Socialist Party of Venezuela held a press conference on the sanctions applied to the country and the death of the Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi. The first Vice President of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, Diosdado Cabello, stated that the structures of the party continue to be strengthened in view of the presidential elections of next July 28th. In this sense, Cabello affirmed that the governmental projects have become a direct response of attention to the people of Venezuela. He also expressed his condolences to the Islamic Republic of Iran after the death of its president Ebrahim Raisi.
El día de ayer
Yesterday, there was an early news of a possible plane crash where the president of Iran was traveling. The fall of the helicopter where he was traveling. And today his death has been confirmed. To the people of Iran, our solidarity, our affection, our condolences in this painful moment.
The Vice President of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, Diosdado Cabello, said Monday at a news conference that despite the blockade, the country has managed to move forward.
The best thing about all this is that despite the blockade, despite the sanctions, despite the persecutions, well, the national government, the Bolivarian government, has found a way to do much more with much less.
And we stay in Venezuela as mobilizations continue against U.S. sanctions and in support of President Nicolás Maduro. This time it was the people of San Agustin in the capital city of Caracas who took to the streets to demonstrate against the coercive and unilateral measures imposed by the U.S. government against the country, which not only threaten human rights but also affect Venezuelans directly. The mobilization was attended by the first Vice President of the PASUV, Diosdado Cabello, and during the march, citizens expressed that Venezuela is a free country and that the people already have their candidate, reiterating their full support to the President, Nicolás Maduro, and reiterating the call to President Joe Biden to lift the sanctions. We have a final short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with teleSUR. Final short break. Don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. In the United Kingdom, the London High Court ruled Monday that Australian journalist Julian Assange has the right to appeal his extradition to the United States. Two London High Court judges granted Assange permission to appeal, having previously asked Washington to provide satisfactory assurances about free speech protections at any U.S. trial. The journalist will now face another court battle in his long-running legal case after the UK government approved his extradition in June 2022. His defense attorney told the court they do not accept assurances given by U.S. prosecutors that Assange would be able to rely on First Amendment rights and protections. Assange is wanted by Washington for publishing hundreds of thousands of secret U.S. documents exposing their war crimes in Afghanistan and Iraq. In the meantime, hundreds of protesters gathered outside the United Kingdom's High Court of Justice in support of journalist Julian Assange. The ruling was welcomed with cheers and slogans in support of Julian Assange. The journalist's legal team indicated that in case of the unfavorable outcome, Assange could have been on a plane to the United States in less than 24 hours. Stella Assange expressed her intention to take the case to the European Court of Human Rights. In this regard, the Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva posted on X the following: Julian Assange, the journalist who should have won the Pulitzer Prize for revealing the secrets of the powerful, has been imprisoned for 5 years in England, condemned to the silence of all the press that should defend his freedom in the framework of the fight for freedom of expression. I hope the press persecution against Assange ends and he returns to freedom as soon as possible. Nearly 3 weeks after floods hit the Brazilian city of Porto Alegre, large sections of the city are still underwater. Our correspondent Brian Meyer has more details.
3 weeks after the city of Porto Alegre in southern Brazil was hit with the greatest flood in its history, with the Guaibá river level rising 5.33 meters above normal, large swaths of this metropolitan area of 3.5 million people are still underwater. Over half the city is without electrical power and running water. Only 26 public schools are operating, with the local government promising that by next week, around half the schools will be open, and hundreds of thousands of people are still living in shelters or in homes of families and friends, with a prediction that it's going to take another couple of weeks before the water disappears completely, with multiple pumping stations broken or underwater. And as the city begins rebuilding, the anger is rising in the local population. Governor Eduardo Leite from the right-wing PSDB party flexibilized 480 environmental laws in the last few years, devastating forested areas along riverbanks that would have slowed down the arrival of floodwater. In addition, for years, the right-wing coalition that's been governing the city of Porto Alegre, together with Governor Leite, has been pushing to rip down the containment wall that was so neglected that several of the floodgates didn't properly close because they were lacking rubber seals and screws, with estimates of damage to the city of Porto Alegre rising into the billions just as people are beginning to clean up, as the water has fallen to 4.3 meters above normal. Meteorologists are saying that there could be 100 millimeters of rain today in the mountains outside of Porto Alegre.
In Guatemala, forest fires destroyed more than 40,000 hectares of forest between the end of 2023 and up to date. According to the National Coordinator for Disaster Reduction, a total of 40,700 hectares of green areas have been completely burned, which is 42% more than 28,700 hectares that were destroyed in the same period of the previous year. They also warned that so far there have been 2,314 fires registered throughout 2024. The fire crisis has been influenced by record temperatures that exceed 40 degrees Celsius and thermal sensation of 49 degrees Celsius. In Belize, educational authorities suspended academic activities in several localities of the country due to poor air quality caused by high temperatures, which led to the contamination of the atmosphere with toxic smoke as a result of forest fires in the territory. Japanese animation studio Ghibli became the first collective to receive an honorary Palme d'Or at Cannes on Monday. The Japanese studio, which has been bringing a new spirit to animated cinema for 4 decades, has won the audience's hearts with masterpieces such as Chihiro's Journey and The Walking Castle. Ghibli co-founder Hayao Miyazaki was unable to travel to Cannes, but sent a video thanking the festival and the fans for the award, noting that it also belonged to the staff and the audience. Miyazaki has announced his retirement more than once, but he continues to work and returned to the theaters last year with The Boy and the Hero, a film that won him an Oscar. We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.